Hi everyone, welcome to Inside the AI. I'm your host, the Data Doc, and today we're going to be doing a different topic, and we're going to be covering what is artificial intelligence. So we're going to go through the definition, and this is important because this is rampant everywhere, but linked in the description above, I have a video on automation and how this can impact the workforce. So AI, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, all these terms that are being thrown around, they're probably being used wrong. And this video is going to show you how to use those terms and why it's important to understand what's happening. This is one of many series in which I will be explaining the process of artificial intelligence, the different tools that are out there to use, such as OpenAI, Claude, Perplexity, and others, and then show you how to maximize those to get the most productivity out of them. I'll give you some small tips inside of it, and I'll show you some of the ins and outs of what is actually happening. So if you find value in this video, as always, please like and subscribe. Join my communities. They're linked in the description below. And watch my other videos on how to build out these automations within N8N. So now jumping into this video, what is artificial intelligence? So we have the definition, and artificial intelligence refers to machines or systems that mimic human intelligence. They perform tasks such as learning, reasoning, problem solving, and decisions. But what does that even mean? So like artificial intelligence is mimicking our human intelligence by probability. It's all ranked off of probability. And so the way it can do this is because of machine learning. So on the image on the right, we have a definition of each one. Artificial intelligence is a set of human techniques that enables computers to mimic human behavior. Now, inside of artificial intelligence, as this umbrella gets smaller, we have machine learning. And machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, which enables machines to learn and predict based off of data. So this is important to understand. The data has to be really good data so that you have good results. So then we have neural networks. What is neural networks inside of machine learning? All of this is high level information. You can get really granular into each one of these. The challenge is you don't need to, you just need to know what's happening so you can make the best prompt. And stay tuned for my video on how to do prompt engineering. Understanding what artificial intelligence is, and more importantly, how it works, will help you craft and use prompts the best way to get the best results from your tools. So now neural networks are a subset of machine learning that uses artificial neural networks to extract patterns from data. It's inspired by the human brain. So what that means is they created a system of having neural networks, and essentially it's going to mimic the human brain and come to decisions much like the human brain would, but it's still based off of its data. So it has limitations. So going into deep learning, what is deep learning? Deep learning is a subset of neural networks. And each one of these, as I mentioned, builds on the last one. And it utilizes multi-layered neural networks to achieve high performance and complexities. So anything in computers has started out somewhere. And what has happened is computer systems work off of a layering system, much like this system is doing on itself. You start out with deep learning, and then somebody takes that to the next level and uses that as the foundation for the next thing. And computer systems are the same way. You start out with one system, and someone takes that, improves it, and it continuously improves because there's a system to continue to improve. And they're multi-layered, which means one is layered on the next one and the next one and so on. The characteristics of AI is that it can adapt and improve performance over time. So as we are working inside of the AI, there are engineers on the back end who are updating it and improving the system for our user experience. Most importantly is that this AI systems are all founded on the data it's trained on. Typically, you're training the data on about 20% of the total data that you would need. That's just a baseline rule, but that is not 100% guaranteed. And within that data, it uses algorithms to come to its conclusion. And those algorithms are all based off probability. So now we'll move on to the next slide. And now we're going to go through the history of AI. Everyone would probably assume that AI came to light over here in 2020 when ChatGPT was really launched. So 2020, 2022 was the mainstream. Everyone had access to this open AI type of model, which is generally a large language model or a GPT. However, that is not entirely accurate. AI has been around since the 1940s. And Alex Turing, he proposed that machines could have intelligence. He developed something called the Turing test. And what the Turing test is, it gives us the ability to determine if AI has become intelligence. The way it does that, it's a little complicated, but I'll simplify it for you, is AI and humans would go against each other on some type of task. The AI would be tasked to write a paper. The human would be tasked to write a paper. Those two papers would get submitted and 3 people would review them. And if it was determined that those 3 people could not determine which one was the AI, you can assume that that AI is now intelligent. So that is kind of the Turing test and how it works. So then there's the next evolution of it. When John McCarthy coined the term artificial intelligence in 1956. We have some milestones. 1960, we continue to move along, and we have the development of the LISP programming, which is a language for AI research. And so 1997 was a big moment for IBM because their AI system, Deep Blue, defeated a chess champion. And so that really showed how AI was starting to enter the level of human decision making. 2021 was also a big moment because IBM's Watson entered Jeopardy and was able to win. So then in 2012, this is the moment of the deep learning revolution. And we have across the top of this image, we have some key moments. So we have the first golden age, we have the dark age of AI, and then the second golden age where things start to evolve and get better, the third or the second dark age, and then we have the third golden age. So at some point we can predict that this golden age will stop. There'll be a dark age, which just means there's going to be a slower production, and then it will ramp back up and be more productive. Going on to the next slide, we have here are different types of artificial intelligence. This is important to know because what you want to do is understand these 3 topics and determine which AI system you are using. This is going to be important because when you're crafting your prompts, you can tie those into the type of AI system that is being used and create the best response from your prompt. So the first one is artificial narrowing intelligence. It focuses on specific tasks, such as facial recognition, spam filtering. This has been around for ages. We've used it for a long time. You just didn't know it was being used in the back end. This is the most common type of AI you're going to interact with. This is your Siris, Alexas, and Google Translates. This happens all the time. AGI, it's another term. It's artificial general intelligence. This is a hypothetical machine capability that acts like a human for reasoning in different tasks. So the AGI is what we're currently using today. And this is a very important topic because this is the balance between humans and artificial intelligence, and when are they equal? You know, there's the argument that artificial intelligence is just mimicking human behavior. But then there's the other argument that any human behavior is just learned from other humans. So then we're just mimicking each other's behavior. So wouldn't that be a form of human behavior? So that is very interesting. If you want to know more about that, let me know. I can do a podcast or a video just on that and talk through that type of theory. The next thing is artificial superintelligence. This is kind of not here yet. Some places may have it. This is a theoretical concept where machines are surpassing human in intelligence. So I would argue that there are some aspects that the machines are surpassing us in intelligence. However, it's not creating newer, innovative solutions. So where we are now is we are in the narrowing AI, which means we're dictating tasks for the AI. At some point, we'll move into, and this is a predictive theoretical, and this is just a predictive theory where we'll move into a general or a more super intelligence, where all we have to do is explain the end state of a task, and the AI will be able to complete every task without us telling it anything else. So that's theory, and we can move on to the next slide. This next slide is some of the applications where you could use this in business or in AI. So how can you use this AI systems in what you're doing? So the first one is business operations. You can use it to transcribe your meeting notes. You can integrate systems, and it's already being done. So many people have probably heard this, but you can integrate the AI to review your meeting notes and summarize them for you. You can take it a step further and ask it to perform actions for you. So there's many things you can do with it. It can draft your reports. It can draft your emails. You can set systems up where you are prioritizing your messages, and you can have AI handle messages while you take care of high priority items. Product development is a big one. You can analyze customer feedback. You can uncover features that are new. And the reason you can do this is because all of that information can be put into one database. If you have millions of customers, you can put it into one database, and the AI can cipher through all of that information really quick. The AI could also create things. So now we're seeing videos being creative, and this is already in the past, but we'll see in the future they'll be even better. But you can create an idea, put it into the prompt, and then have the AI create the whole production for your company. It can assist in refining code, and you can have an AI create its own code and develop websites and do different things like that. So some of the latest trends in AI are multi-model AI systems and intelligent agents. If you watch some of my videos, I've built some of these out. I continue to build them out, and they are very impressive. But what's happening is mainstream AI companies are doing this. And so they're going to continue to innovate and start dominating some of these markets. So AI is now starting to merge all of the capabilities together, where you can take text, images, audios, and videos and start to use them all in one system. And now we can create agents that have reason. They can reason and they can plan. They can execute complex tasks by assigning them tools. And then they can execute those tasks. And then we can have a human in the loop to review what it's doing before it hits production. Generative AI in business, this is going to be a big demand. This is going to be moving forward. There are theories out there of AI having a negative impact on business because people are going to rush to the AI and not know how to use it. And so we could have a reverse effect like the dot-com bubble of the 90s. But companies are starting to embed these into our systems. There's many challenges in this. There's compliance risk issues. There's many issues with permissions and what the data is actually being used for and who has access to it. So there are challenges in implementing AI in businesses. Again, there's this balance. And so now moving into explainable and ethical challenges in AI. So now there's a greater focus in this and having transparency in the models. You should be able to explain what the models are doing so that you are coming to the best solution and having the best generation of the AI systems. So now moving into the ethical considerations for AI. This is very important, and not on a should we use it or should we not use it, but we should know what's happening with the AI so that we can use it responsibly and come to the best conclusions of what we're doing. What I mean by that is AI has an inherent bias. And anyone who says, well, I don't want to use AI because it has a bias, I would argue that every person has a bias. So there's no relationship between that. Now, there's different ways to become biased. The AI can be trained on data that is biased, which gives it skewed results, like OpenAI has been shown to have. And these different ones have their different biases because of the data it's trained on. Another way is if I'm generating a prompt, that prompt could have my bias in the prompt, which then generates an answer that has bias inside of it. So those are two really big ways to have bias in your AI results. The next ethical consideration when implementing AI is privacy risks. Does the AI have access to everyone's data, or is it siloed off? Are you sending your data back to the AI company, and are they using that to train the model? These are all things that we have to think about when we're using this AI. The employment impact. I know everyone has seen the fear mongering out on social media. I would argue you're at more of a risk, not to AI at the moment, but you're at risk to people using AI better than you are. So if you're not using AI, you might want to get better at using AI So now moving into the challenges faced of AI development. This is important to know, not because you're going to develop an AI model, but because when you're doing your research on which tool to use, you can see what data they're using, or you can see how they're developing these models, and you can determine if it has good quality. What I mean by that is if it has poor data on one side, it's going to give you bad results. So poor quality will equal bias or in the data set and could lead to inaccurate predictions or decisions that are led by the AI. The next thing is the computational restraints. We're running very advanced models and we need the power, we need the computer chips, and we need the infrastructure to be able to handle this. So if we don't have the ability to do this, we may have to do a different system where we have smaller models that could implement those tasks that we need. Going into the global collaboration barrier, we have many geopolitical issues and the tension can rise because of the AI. So now we're going to move into the future opportunities in AI. So what are the future opportunities? Immediately, we have agentic AI. This refers to the system of capabilities of independently reasoning, planning, and taking action to achieve a goal without consistent human direction. We are at that stage right now, and I would argue many of these systems can do what you want it to do. If you give it some key tasks and you have the triggers to knock them out, I would argue many of these systems can do it, maybe even better than the humans can do it. So some of the key features for agentic AI is it has to have autonomy. It has to be able to execute these tasks by itself. And the way it does this is through triggers. You could drop a file into Google, which executes a workflow. You can have it set up by time base. So every day at 8 o'clock, I want you to execute this workflow. You can set it up by email. There's many ways to set up a trigger. Reasoning. It has to be able to break down goals into smaller actions and then intelligently execute those goals. Now, inside of some of these platforms, the way it does that is by using OpenAI or using an AI model to break down your tasks. And you have to give it a role and instructions so that it can execute this. And then you give it access to tools so that it can complete those tasks. Those tools are like Google Sheets, Excel documents, emails. It can be many different things. When you make these agentic agents, what you want to do is give them a goal. You have to give them an end state and a goal so they can achieve it and they would understand what they're doing. Some examples of this are AI systems that can book your entire travel itinerary. You can link it to your credit card. You can tell it where you want to go. You can give it the time frame you would like to be there. And the AI will continuously search for the best deal and book you the trip. You can have an AI agent that works autonomously on your IT systems. You can have an AI system that works autonomously managing your IT systems, and then it would trigger you a response when there's an issue. So that's all I have for this slide. If you found value in this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to continue to make these videos and try to educate people on how to use AI and how to use it effectively so that you can get the best results. Thanks. I'm the Data Doc. Bye-bye.